Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Phil and the Mic. I am Darrin Michael, and I'm flying solo today. I had a lot going on, and I felt like there was a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about. So rather than try to wait for Phil, guy's crazy, who's actually following around Taylor Swift, going to every single place that she's playing. I don't even know where he is now, but he's a Swiftie, and that's where he is. So I'm here by myself. Wanted to talk to everybody because I know it's been a while. Start off with something personal. You know, what's today? Today's May 5th, and last month I turned 50. I know you might not believe it because, I mean, this doesn't look like 50, which is great. But anyway, my basketball game has gone to a new level. The earlier games this year, I think I scored 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, something like that. So I'd scored 6 points. And then 3 games ago, all of a sudden, I scored 13. And then the game after that, I scored 16. And then last game, I scored 9. So I went from scoring 3 points in 6 points in 3 games to what is that? 38 points in 3 games. The only thing I can say is it's because I turned 50. That's what it is. You don't play well until you hit that next decade. So all of a sudden, I guess I'm doing something crazy. Something else I wanted to talk about though, and this is pretty wild. Um, the other day, I'm just flipping channels. I think it was 2 nights ago, and I see on the guide, it says like International Tag Championships, and it was on ESPN2. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is this? It reminds me of the movie Dodgeball when they're talking about ESPN 8, the Ocho, and they have Dodgeball. And I'm like, why is ESPN2 carrying? And it was the Pan American Tag Championships. And so I decided to turn it on to see what it was like. And let me tell you something very interesting. I got to be honest. I, I didn't know what to expect, but it's like this big obstacle course, and you've got like it's like 15 seconds, and the one guy has to try to tag the other guy, and it's pretty wild. I got to be honest with you. I actually enjoyed it. I'm not going to participate in it, but it kept my attention. It really, really kept my attention. So anyway, if you haven't seen that and it happens to come across your screen, watch it. I guarantee you're actually going to like it. The craziest thing, the craziest thing. I don't even know what they're going to think of next. But anyway, let's talk about what I wanted to talk about today. And today is going to be kind of a feel good episode. And I think there's a lot of really good things that are going on right now. And I just wanted to talk about them. The first one that I want to talk about, and I'm sure that everybody knows this has been a huge, huge story. Drew Maggi, I don't know how to pronounce his name. If you haven't heard of this guy, then you've obviously been living under a rock, but his name was everywhere. So he is a 33-year-old baseball player who was just called up last week from the minors from AA. He spent 13 years in the minors, played 1,155 games, 4,494 plate appearances, and he finally got the call up. And it's just amazing. Like his first at bat, he struck out on 4 pitches versus the Dodgers. His second game, which was April 27th, went 0 for 3 versus the Dodgers. But then his third game on April 29th, he got 2 at bats. And what did he do? He got 2 hits. Unbelievable. His first hit was up the middle, a single. The second one, a double, had a run, had an RBI. Everyone in the stadium erupted. Now remember, this is a guy that plays for Pittsburgh, and he was at the Washington National Stadium. The whole stadium just erupted with cheer. Everybody knows about this guy's story. What a tale of perseverance. Unbelievable. And then after the game, his teammates douse him in water. He gets the treatment, and then he finds out he's being sent back down to AA, which is funny. But man, I mean, think about it. Could you ever do something for 13 years and your dream is out there, but you're not giving up on it? I mean, I don't know how he did it. I really don't know how. But in the end, you know what? He'll have a story to tell, and not only that, it's probably going to be made into a movie. I mean, I can't see why it wouldn't be. So it's like the feel good story of the year, of the decade, of I don't know, whenever. It's just so cool, and it's so exciting to see that. So just wanted to mention that. A couple other things that I wanted to mention is Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey retires. The Dark Knight. Not much of a dark night when you're 50 and 66 with a 4.42 ERA in your career, but you know what? It is what it is. This is a guy that came up really, really young. He had some incredible success. Threw out his arm, Tommy John surgery, never came back. Just the way it is. So, oh well, oh well. And another surprise this season, Jacob deGrom on the injured list. No way. I did not see that coming. Crazy. Who would have thought the guy's making like $50 million a year, but he's on the disabled list. I'm gonna have to talk to Phil about that when he comes back, whenever he comes back. So that was interesting. I want to talk little baseball, a little more baseball, and that is surprise teams. There are some teams out there like I look at the Rays, 26-6. I mean, are you kidding me? I want to put this out there to people. Who can even name a Rays player? Okay. Try naming, I don't know, 3, 4, 5. I can probably name a couple. I can't name that many people. How are they doing it? I don't know. I don't know. They're just one of those franchises that just knows what to do for some crazy reason that I haven't even figured that out. But they are definitely the big surprise team. But then you've got the Pirates, who unfortunately were doing really well, but ran into the Tampa Bay Rays, and there goes that. That could be the start of them going in the wrong direction. But my Orioles are 21-10. Honestly, I can't even remember the last time the Orioles were 11 games over 500. And how are they doing it? I'm trying to figure that out myself. Their starting pitching, suspect at best. Their defense has been bad. Their hitting has been really good, and their bullpen has been lights out. I mean, besides that, I don't know what else. So, I mean, those are really my surprise teams. Then you got the Dodgers sitting around 500, which I didn't see happening. You've got the White Sox, who are just awful. I mean, there's a lot of people that picked them to win their division, and they are just god awful. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Really surprised by what's going on there. Let's go into feel good story number 2. That is Bryce Harper. Let me just explain something, okay? This is how I feel about Bryce Harper. He is the Major League Baseball's equivalent of LeBron James. Just a guy that I hate. I absolutely hate him. Everybody knows I hate LeBron. I despise Bryce Harper. I just think he is just such an a-hole. Just not a nice guy. A hell of a ball player. I'm not going to say that he's not, but this is a guy that just played. I think he played last night. It was his first game off of Tommy John surgery that I think he had 6 months ago. I mean, who the hell comes back from Tommy John surgery at 6 months? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I'm going to go with feel good story number 2, Bryce Harper. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about something that we really never talk about, and that's the NBA. And this was really interesting to me because there's 2 really interesting stories that come out of this. And that is number 8 Miami actually beat the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks. I know a lot of people had Milwaukee going down to the finals and potentially winning this year. They won 4-1. Unfortunately, the Milwaukee coach was fired. Coach Budenholzer. He was fired, which is crazy since they had the best record in the NBA this year. They won the NBA championship in 2021. Why are you firing the guy? Because he lost in the first round to a team that played lights out? I don't know. I don't know if there's any league that I don't want to be a coach in. I guess it's basketball. I mean, that makes 3 out of the last 4 NBA champions that have already fired their coach. I mean, talking about what have you done for me lately? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyway, feel good story number 3 comes out of this. And that is Jimmy Butler. I don't know how many of you know about Jimmy Butler, but this guy basically single-handedly beat the Bucks. He was just Just lights out, absolutely lights out. 37.6 points a game is what he averaged, 56 points in game four. And I don't know if anybody knows about this, but Jimmy Butler was actually kicked out of his house when he was 13 years old. Unbelievable. I mean, could you? I'm thinking about what kids are like at age 13. You know, I'm thinking about my daughter who's almost 15, what she was like at 13. And I mean, my God, unbelievable, unfreaking believable. So he was kicked out of the house. He had no money. He had no parents. Um, his mom kicked him out. And this is the last thing she said to him. I don't like the look of you. You got to go. I mean, I don't know how you get over that one. That's pretty crazy. So he ended up bouncing around from house to house, kind of staying with this friend, staying with this friend. He was finally taken in by a family that already had 7 kids. All right. I guess they got to know him, they felt bad for him, and he became part of their family, which is unbelievable. When he graduated high school, he was actually the 73rd ranked basketball player in the state of Texas. Okay. It's not really on anybody's radar, but he ended up going to junior college and showed that I guess he developed quickly. And then he ended up going to Marquette, ended up being a first round, I think it was a first round draft pick, gold medalist, 6-time All-Star. He's made $218 million so far, and he's going to make another $146 million over the next 3 years. I'd say that's a success story. Talking about a guy that has overcome uh, the most horrific condition. I mean, imagine 13 years old, you're kicked out of your house. I wouldn't know what to do. What do you do? What do you do? I mean, you're just a kid. You're just a kid. So anyway, so that is feel good story number 3. Just really, really excited to talk about that. And before I move on, I have one other thing that I want to talk about the NBA. And this I thought was pretty cool. Stacey King. I know who he is because I'm a big Bulls fan. Well, I was a big Bulls fan growing up, big Michael Jordan fan, Scottie Pippen. And it's an interesting quote that what he said. So he was playing with on the team when Michael Jordan scored a career high 69 points in a game. And they asked him about it, and he said, "I'll always remember this as the night Michael Jordan and I combined to score 70 points." I mean, talking about a great sense of humor. How could you not love that? That is the funniest thing. The night MJ and I combined to score 70. Now, it sounds much more impressive than it really is, but guy's got a point. It does sound great. So I thought that was awesome. I had to mention that. I know we don't talk about NBA very much, but I saw that recently and I could not resist mentioning it. I just think everybody's going to enjoy that. All right. Let's move on a little bit and let's get to this is really interesting. Professional women's soccer. The only reason I'm talking about it is because Phil's not here, because he would have a fit if he saw me, if I started talking about this, if I brought it up and I'd tell him the stat and he'd be like, okay, great, who cares? Well, I think it's really interesting. So there's a girl named Melanie Barcenas. I think that's how you pronounce her name. So she plays for San Diego Ware Football Club of the National Women's Soccer League. And Phil would be like, okay, who cares? And then, you got Money Mark saying, okay, and she just got into a game. She's 15 years, 177 days old. She signed a 3-year deal. So this is a girl that's what? Sophomore in high school, and she's playing professional women's soccer. Now, if that's not another feel-good story, that is feel-good story number 4 that I've come up with this week. I'm excited. I think that is just like the coolest thing. I remember there was the men's professional team, Freddie Adu. He was like 13, I think, when he signed his first contract. And I think he was just too little, too scrawny. He might have had all kinds of skills, but got to have some size too. I mean, he must have been like, 5 feet, 90 pounds. I mean, you're going to get crushed when you're out there. But anyway, unbelievable story. Really, really cool. Really, really cool. Now let's get into something that I'm really excited to talk about, and that's the NFL, especially the draft. But I want to start with Lamar Jackson. As most of you know, just a few weeks ago, he's telling people, I don't want to play for the Ravens. I want to be traded, blah, blah, blah. I want to represent myself. Now, you got to remember something about Lamar Jackson. And, is he talented? Yeah, he's talented. Did he win MVP a few years ago? He did. He did. But he's been injured constantly. And, to me, it's very difficult to give a guy that's injured, it doesn't play that much, exactly what he wants. Guy can't stay on the field. So it's like, what are you paying him for? Anyway, so he had turned out a bunch of contracts. He finally decides to sign 5 years, 260 million only. And I'm sorry about this, only 185 million guaranteed. Lamar, I'm so sorry about that. After signing his name, he did get a signing bonus of $72 million. I don't know. We've had this conversation before. We've talked about the quarterbacks. I don't understand why they make so much freaking money. I understand their importance, but my God, I mean, $52 million a year. And so what does he say after signing that? I want to throw for 6,000 yards with the weapons we have. Well, my man, you're not going to throw for 6,000 yards. You can't play enough games to throw for 6,000 yards unless you're throwing for 800 yards a game. I mean, I hate to tell that to you. And the weapons you have, you've got an old Odell Beckham Jr., you've got Nelson Aguilar, who's average at best, and Zay Flowers, a rookie. I don't even know who else you have. I think you've got Brown still, and I don't know who else you have. I mean, you've got a decent receiving corps, but 6,000 yards. Come on, man. I don't think so. I mean, maybe you say that to make all the Ravens fans feel good, but no, not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. Interesting that the Jets finally worked it out with Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think I talked about it last time, but man, I cannot tell you as a Jets fan how excited the Jets community is. It's incredible. The just the energy that he's brought to this team, their fans, their players, just everybody is so excited about Aaron Rodgers being there. It's interesting because they talked to Garrett Wilson, the receiver, offensive rookie of the year last year, caught like 83 passes, had a really good year considering nobody was throwing to him. And they said he's a 21-year-old kid. They said to him, "Hey, so what's it like? After his first practice, what's it like catching a ball from Aaron Rodgers?" And his response was, "You know what? I can't wait for 20 or 30 years to tell my grandchildren about this." Like, who says that? I mean, unbelievable amount of respect for this guy. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a 4-time MVP. He's a Super Bowl champion. The Jets, who have had the longest playoff drought in all 4 sports, they have not been to the playoffs since 2010. Longest drought of anybody. You can imagine how tough it is to be a Jets fan right now. But the Jets actually have the 6th best odds of winning the Super Bowl this year just because of Aaron Rodgers. So I think if anything less than the Super Bowl is a disappointment for the Jets. I see the team as being really excited. They're really going to play well because they want to play well. They finally have a quarterback. It's incredible what one guy could do to just transform an organization. Now, if he's healthy, that's going to be fantastic. If he's hurt, if he's playing like he did last year, which wasn't fantastic, then we'll have to see what happens. But I'll tell you, I have a feeling this guy is going to be re-energized. He's going to do really well for this team. The team is really going to rally around him and do some incredible things. And I'll bet you he stays for, could be 3 years, could be 4 years, something like that. I think he's really going to enjoy New York. He's going to really enjoy everything about it. And so I'm excited. So I'm really, really excited about that. Let's get to the draft. And I just want to talk a little bit, not about the draft too much, but about some of the surprises that I saw in the draft. And I want to start off with the Colts, who picked Anthony Richardson at number 4. All right. I realize that this guy could throw the ball a mile. He's the fastest guy around. His numbers are off the charts. His size, he's huge. This is what my question is, though. Why wasn't he better in college? I mean, he went to Florida. Florida always has great players. I mean, are the Colts going to be able to do what Florida couldn't do and really develop this guy? You know, I mean, there's something to be said for that. Is this guy capable of being a winner, even though he wasn't a winner in Florida? Did he really do enough to make the Gators that much better? No. If he's the number 4 pick, he should have been in every game and just controlling the outcome of the game, and he didn't. So I personally think it's a stretch pick at 4 for Anthony Richardson. I don't see him being the quarterback of the future. I'm not going to sit there and say, yeah, let's think about all the great Colts quarterbacks that they've had. They've had Johnny Unitas, they've had Peyton Manning, they've had Andrew Luck, and now they have Anthony Richardson. No, I don't see it. You heard it here first. The guy is not going to be a great NFL quarterback. He's just not. I mean, I remember saying the same thing about Zach Wilson. Completely right. This guy is not going to be a great quarterback, plain and simple. My next surprise pick, the Lions at pick 12 took Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back out of Alabama. He was a borderline first round pick. And listen, the guy's talented. He's fast. He's elusive, but he's not really an every down running back, and you're going to spend the 12th pick on a guy that's probably better catching balls out of the backfield or using him for third down. Like, you're going to use a 12th pick for that, and then they let DeAndre Swift basically go for, a football or two footballs and a 12 pack of hot dogs and even a case of beer. But like, why? Why? I mean, Swift is a nice player. This guy Gibbs is not an everyday back. He's not big enough. He's not strong enough. He's quick. Not way overstretch. Way overstretch on that one. But hey, maybe the Lions know something we all don't. I mean, I can remember seeing them in their draft room, and they're all like hugging and giving each other high fives, and I'm like, why did you guys just do something great? I just don't see it. But anyway, listen, time will tell. Time will tell. My next surprise, the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick he's just a genius. He really is. I mean, I can't say enough about the guy. I mean, he may not have all the pieces that he needs to win, Tom Brady, but they had the 14th pick right before the Jets, and they knew what Pittsburgh wanted to do. There were 4 great offensive linemen on the board. They knew Pittsburgh wanted one. They knew the Jets wanted one. The Jets had the next pick. So what did they do? They traded away the 14th pick, and the Steelers picked the 4th offensive lineman, which completely ruined the Jets' plan. So what did they do? They went with another surprise pick, and that is Will McDonald. They drafted Will McDonald. He's an edge rusher out of Iowa State. And listen, I'm not going to say that he's not going to be good. I don't know. But when you went from having 2 great back-to-back seasons of, I don't know what he had, 11 and 12 sacks, something like that, and then he has 5 sacks last year, kind of going the wrong way. He's undersized. I think he's 240 for an edge rusher. That is not big. So I don't know. You look at the decreased production. Now he's going into the NFL. Is production really going to get better? No. Do they already have a crowded defensive line? Yes. Is this guy is he a 3-down player? No. I mean, this is a guy that's going to play every now and then, and you took him at 15? I don't know. I mean, I think as Jets fans, we were really spoiled last year because after the draft, we said, wow, that was a great draft. And after this draft, we're all saying, wow, I have no idea. It's one of those where you just have to wait and see. Sometimes you have those drafts where you just look at who you drafted and you're just like, they hit it out of the park. And last year they did hit it out of the park. I mean, think about it, right? Sauce Gardner, Defensive Player of the Year. Garrett Wilson, Offensive Player of the Year. What's his name? Jermaine Johnson. He's going to become a good rusher. Brees Hall, you took him in the second round. He's phenomenal. Michael Clemens, another rushing guy. He's just relentless. I think he's going to be a nice player too. So you can't say enough about last year's draft, and maybe we're spoiled by that. But I was a little disappointed by the names. I'm not even going to get into it just because I really hadn't even heard of most of them. So we'll see. We'll see if they turn out good. We'll see if I'm not a huge Joe Douglas fan. I think he's had a lot more misses than he's had hits. But some of his hits have been huge. And if Aaron Rodgers pays off, then, the guy will live forever in the hearts and minds of Jets fans. And then the last guy, well, actually two more guys I want to talk about. Will Levis, he fell to 33. And if you saw him in the green room, I mean, that is just painful. I mean, they were talking about this guy potentially going first, and then he goes 33. This is a guy that's going to have a huge chip on his shoulder. He's now playing for Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans, they thought they drafted somebody good. I think it was last year, the year before, Malik Willis out of Liberty. Everybody and their mother thought that this guy was not going to be any good. It turns out he's not any good. So Will Levis is going to step in and have an opportunity. Tannehill had a few good years, but I don't see him getting the job done. So this guy, he landed in a great spot. And, the best part of the green room with him is seeing his family, his sister, hot, his girlfriend, really hot. So the fact they had to keep showing them, that was okay. Kept my attention in the draft. Let's just put it that way. And last but not least, Stetson Bennett. All right. So here's another guy. He's kind of like the anti-Anthony Richardson. That's what I refer to him as. He doesn't have the size, he doesn't have the strength, he doesn't have the numbers, but this guy wins games. I mean, back-to-back MVP of the national championship. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's something to be said, do you take a winner or do you take a guy whose numbers are off the charts? I mean, which one is going to translate better into the NFL? Now, the nice thing about Bennett is that he's going to the LA Rams, who, after doing what they did, have just fallen off the planet, just terrible. So I don't know what's going to go on with Matthew Stafford, but it's funny that they have another UGA quarterback in Stafford there. And Stafford's getting older, so there might be some opportunities. And who knows, maybe Bennett will turn out to be a good player. I don't know. But pretty exciting. And that brings me to my fifth feel-good story of the year. Or of the week, I'm sorry. And that's a guy named Cody Mauch. And you're probably sitting here saying, okay, who the hell is Cody Mauch? And I got to be honest with you, I was saying the exact same thing. But this is a guy that out of high school, he went to a school, a really tiny high school. His hometown had 69 people. Anyway, only 69 people in his entire town. And this is a guy that was a 0-star athlete. I was also a 0-star athlete out of high school. He actually walked on to the North Dakota State football team in 2017 as a tight end. He weighed 220 pounds. Over that first year, he kind of decided what he wanted to do with himself. And he actually gained 80 pounds that year. Ended up, it was 6'5", 220 as a tight end. Ended up his sophomore year, 6'6", 303, moved to offensive line, started 39 straight games, and was drafted by the Tampa Bay Bucks, round 2, pick 48. They actually traded up to get him. I mean, come on, that's pretty cool. And the best part about him is, what do you say? He's missing his 2 front teeth, and he's not going to get them replaced until after he retires from pro football. Is that what he said? I don't know. The guy looks like a giant hillbilly, which I think is hysterical. But man, another great story. Another great story. So really exciting stuff. I enjoyed the draft. I enjoyed talking about football. There's a lot of other great things going on. I wanted to finish with one last thing, and that is Deion Sanders. Now, a lot of people like him. I don't. I can't stand him. I mean, he's so flashy. Do you remember the whole, oh, I'm too legit to quit? Too legit, too legit to quit. Anyway, I'm not a rapper, but I mean, the guy is just, listen, I get that he was a fantastic football player. He's a Hall of Fame cornerback. He was great. He was great. And I get that he was a really good baseball player. He actually was. You might not realize that he was actually pretty good. Um, but what is he doing? Like he did some great things with that school. Where was he in Florida? Florida Atlantic. I don't even know. I don't even. It was a small school in Florida. I can't remember the name of it. And he takes that and he goes to Colorado. Now, Phil and I have talked about this, and Phil doesn't think that he's much of a coach. And I guess when I thought about that, I didn't really think he was much of a coach either. He didn't exactly play tough competition. And last year he lost to a team that he shouldn't have lost to. So, it's interesting. He was able to recruit. He's a great recruiter because I think just people like the whole shtick. They want to follow him around. Oh, Neon Dion. Oh, he's so exciting. He wears these great purple suits and these hats, and God only he looks like one of the characters from Dumb and Dumber, except I guess he pulls it off. I don't know. And it's interesting to me. So he goes to Colorado, and they have their spring game. What was it, last week before? And immediately after the spring game, 23 players announced they were entering the transfer portal. I don't know what that means, but I kind of look at that as a big negative, not a positive. There he's only left with 16 players from last season, 16 scholarship players. Granted, they weren't very good last year, but man, I mean, that's talking about, having to go out there and reshape your entire roster. I don't know how many transfers he got, but he needs to fill a team. And if I'm Colorado, to me, that's a huge red flag. I don't think he thinks it's a red flag because I think he thinks that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, which he's definitely not. But we'll see. We'll see. I know he's recruited some good players. He's got a lot of good players from the transfer portal, but they don't have a full team. And now when he's playing in a good conference, we're going to be able to see whether or not this guy can really coach. And I think that you're going to see that he really can't. I'm going to tell you that I think Colorado really they really bit into the hype of who he is, and I think they're going to be disappointed. But listen, we'll see. We'll see. So all good stuff. All good stuff. Thank you for letting me rant and just talk. It's kind of weird being on an episode by myself. I miss my man Phil. I miss my man Mark, and I don't know if anybody's really going to listen to me talking, but if you do, I appreciate it. I really, really do. And one of these days, Phil's gonna be free because Taylor Swift will stop touring, and Money Mark will stop counting all his money, and he'll actually be able to jump on for an episode. But I got some good things to talk about next time. I've got a couple trivia questions if Phil comes on that I'm going to stump him with, and we'll see. I hope it's a good week. I hope the Orioles keep playing well. Football season, 12 months of the year. It's always good to hear what's going on there. And we'll just see. We'll just see what happens. So wish me luck. I got my final basketball game of the season on Tuesday against a team that we've lost to twice already. So keep our fingers crossed there. Keep your fingers crossed that I play well. And that we get in the playoffs. Actually, everybody gets to the playoffs, so that's not even a problem. But all good stuff. Thank you for tuning in, and hope to see everybody soon. Have a great weekend and a great week to everybody. And we'll talk to you soon on Phil and the Mic. Thanks.